Okay, it appears I'm live now. So let's go for it. Hi everyone, it's Nicola Cairncross here, and it's my weekly episode of what worked, what didn't, and what's changing. Well, first of all, before I start this week, I'm very sad to talk about the loss of my dear ex-business partner, Judith Morgan. Very suddenly last Sunday, and after a very short illness, surrounded by friends and family, apparently. And a family requested we don't talk about it too much in the beginning of the week, but it's getting to the point now where people are commenting on YouTube videos and things like that. So myself and Marion, she decided it was time to go public with it and let you all express your memories of Judith, which I think will be the best celebration of her life ever. I'll never forget the time she walked down the hallway of my hotel. She was a money gym client of mine at the time, and it was the first time I met her in person. And Steve was there, and we looked at each other, and just in acknowledgement that we had a live one, as we called it. So basically, when you have that shock of recognition that someone's come into your life who is going to be in your life and make a difference to your life, and somehow you get that energetic shock when you first meet them. And she always wore the most vibrant shades of pink. And I absolutely love that because I always wear black, but I do like pink as a relief colour. I remember going to was it her 50th birthday? I think it must have been, where we were all asked to wear pink and we ended up doing line dancing in pink cowboy hats. It was great fun. She was an amazing person. She worked with some incredible people. She used to do the books for the Fat Duck in Bray, and worked with Heston Blumenthal. And she had some incredible clients when she had her own accountancy firm. She also had a travel firm, which was next door to her accountancy firm, all in Fulham. She was very posh, was Judith, and she loved hanging out around Fulham and Wimbledon and that sort of area. And yeah, she was just an amazing person. I used to call her my iron fist in a velvet glove because she was always kind. And that's what's coming up in the comments a lot, that she was always very kind and very supportive and very willing to help people. But she was a straight talker, and I respected that enormously. And if you listen to our nearly 300 episodes of Own It, the podcast, you'll realize how she did that, because it was an art. I think really she was, apart from having a specialist coach for something or mentor, I think as a general small business coach, Judith was unparalleled. And one of the nicest things is that she managed to write her book, which is Your Biz, Your Way. And she wrote a book and put all her thoughts about being a small business owner down. And she had a cleaning business, she had a travel business, she had an accountancy business, and she mentored hundreds and hundreds of small business owners. And she really was incredible. She knew all the psychological things. She'd done a lot of training as a coach. She'd done a lot of the other kind of more esoteric. In fact, there was nothing she liked better than going on a good day at Alternatives in London to learn something new. And she used to bring all of that wisdom and knowledge and experience and learning into her coaching. So the best way to get a feel for her is to go and listen to Own It. And I'm glad I put all those back episodes on my YouTube channel when we were, winding down the podcast, which we did because Judith had inklings of what was coming in 2020 long before any of the rest of us did. And she felt she couldn't go on talking about stuff that was quite inane to her by then, without me knowing about what she knew. So yeah, it came to an end because of what happened in the last 4 years. But and I've often said I'd love to start it again, but that's not to be now, sadly. But if you listen to some of those episodes, there were some really, really genuinely funny moments. We didn't rehearse anything. We had our agenda of what we wanted to talk about, and that was that really. We followed a set format, but in the middle bit, we never knew. We took it in turns to suggest the topics for the middle bit. And as long as it was relevant and important and interesting and useful to small business owners, then anything went really. And we interviewed some amazing people as well. There was one lady who talked about peeing in the woods. I remember that particularly, but and how it affected her business, and for the better. You'd be surprised to hear. But no, she was an amazing person. I spoke to her about 3 weeks ago. She sounded absolutely fine, but then she always was a tough nut. She would tell you if things were wrong, but she wouldn't moan. And she very much believed that we all had to become independent. And she used to give me a shock sometimes with her bluntness about some of the things, because in fact, she used to call me the princess because I had been coddled rather. I didn't think I had, but apparently I had. So yeah, she used to give me shocks sometimes with her honesty. But I think that's a good thing, isn't it? I mean, what's the point of being friends with someone if you can't trust them to tell you the truth? I don't know who I'm going to decide on URLs for new businesses with now, because she was a genius at coming up with business names. She really was. So many good things to say about her. Haven't even touched the surface on this. I thought I'd just give a little sort of talk about her because I want to write a eulogy, but it's all a bit raw at the moment. So I'm just going to let it all settle, and then I'll come back and do it. So what has worked this week? Well, it's been quite a tough week this week, I've got to say, what with one thing and another. You know, when someone passes on to the next great adventure in the sky or wherever it is, it sort of makes you question everything. I question things quite regularly. I don't need extra questioning, I can tell you that. So I've been thinking this week, one of my biggest challenges is determining who my ideal client is. And the reason you have to do that is because you need to know who to address your content marketing, who to address your social media comments and things to. And although I've got two very firm ideal clients, one is the quiet expert, I'm calling them now. So they're not an extrovert, they're an introvert. They often suffer from imposter syndrome, but they are experts and specialists in what they do, but they need encouraging and supporting and help to get their legacy out of their head and into something that can be passed on in the form of videos or a book, in Judith's case, for example. And I would say she was a quiet expert, actually. She didn't really push herself forward or anything. You knew she when she was in the room, she had a presence, but she was a quiet expert for sure. And then my other ideal client is someone who's loud and extrovert and entrepreneurial and generally a creator star kind of personality type. I am a creator star personality in Roger Hamilton's wealth dynamics terms, so I can really relate to those people and I attract them. But they don't read my stuff. They don't come to me because of my carefully crafted blog posts or my YouTube videos, which are designed to help the quiet expert do a bit of tech. They come to me because a quiet expert they know has recommended them, or someone who follows me just because they find me entertaining, and then they recommend to the extroverts. I call them the extraordinary entrepreneurs. So yeah, extraordinary entrepreneurs is an ideal client of mine, and a quiet expert. So now I've named them, it might make it a bit easier. But as you can see, the content you create online for those two people is very, very different indeed. I don't know if you even do create content online for the extraordinary entrepreneur. I think, yeah, and that's been my challenge this week is deciding, because I've just come to a run of 9 blog posts, which were brilliant, I think, really good, but got absolutely no attention at all. And that's been something I'll talk about in the what didn't and what's changing. What else worked? One of my newest clients has had an extraordinary win, which obviously I'm not able to talk about, but it definitely came from the work we did together, because when the actual contact didn't come from that, but when she was able to send them to a highly focused website and a highly focused new YouTube channel, I think it must have helped to seal the interest of this high-flying person. So that was really good. ManyChat has worked this week. I mean, I'm setting it up so that people can just DM me with the word masterclass, for example, to get the link to register for my masterclass on how to bulletproof your business for 2025. Title is still fluid at the moment, as you may have noticed. And the other thing is to book into my diary. If people send the word diary on Instagram or Facebook, then they'll get an automatic link back with the link to book into my diary. So I'm trying to streamline everything so that streamline and automate, but still personalize, and also give me more time to do the creative stuff that is what attracts the clients, and what creates the content. So anything that can't be, that can be, I'm automating it, and ManyChat's helping with that. Now, the thing that didn't work with the ManyChat updates was that I can't get it so that I can send out an update, for example, when I'm about to go live. There is a function in ManyChat where when somebody messages you or gets a download from you or something like that, or even just sends you a normal message, it asks them if they'd like to go onto your well, it's not a mailing list, it's an updates list. And then you should be able to go into ManyChat and hit broadcast, and then send a broadcast to say I'm going live in 5 minutes on my page or my profile. And that's not working for some reason, so I've got to address that. So we've also, my business mentor has just issued a new bit of automation for him, which is where you put in all your audience numbers from all of your different platforms, and it keeps a track every month, and it tells you what your targets are, which is to grow your audience by 3% across the board, and to tell you where you're slacking. I have two challenges with this, not least in that my ADD stroke dyslexia or whatever it is I've got, I don't like putting labels on myself because it's been a superpower as much as a hindrance. But when it comes to filling forms in, oh my God, it's such a hindrance. Even if I have the last month's one to the left and the new one that I'm trying to fill in to the right, oh, it's so hard. I keep adding in different rows or swapping the rows around or something. It's sort of a number dyslexia, I think, or a list dyslexia. I think that's what it is. It's so difficult. But the overall pattern that emerged to my depression when I did it on Wednesday is that my audience growth is 0 to none, and my engagement is 0 to very little. And I was thinking, what is the point of all this? Why am I doing all this? I see content marketing work so well for everybody else, but I just can't make it work for me, particularly on this business. Worked fantastically on all the other businesses. Is it because I was too outspoken in 2020 and 2021 on my social media platforms and I'm being limited in my reach? Is it because I've been putting links to read more on the blog, which could have been the problem? So I've stopped doing that. I've said to people, DM me for a link, but are people going to bother to DM you just to get a link to read the rest of the blog post, good as it might be? I don't think so. So what can I do beyond continuing to go live once a week? I've actually had the ambitions last week to go live every day, but Judith passing on has knocked that out the window, really, because you got to feel like it to go live. And really, the only reason I'm doing it right now today is because my sister's turning up in about 10 minutes, and it will be my last chance for the weekend because the kids will be back as well. Am I just too niche? Is content marketing too niche within the marketing, within the business marketing, within the small business niche? Am I going too niche down? I want to be known as the content marketing person because whenever I teach other people to do it, for example, Dodge Woodall, he's had like 100 million views across all his channels from a podcast. He didn't even know what a podcast was when we started working together. I've made Neil Asher hundreds of thousands, if not, well, he says over $1 million from some of the suggestions I've made for his content. So I'm really, really good at helping other people do content, but I can't seem to nail it for this particular business. And I'm wondering if I'm going too niche. So what I'm going to do about that, because this isn't a pity fest, this is a what worked, what didn't, and what's changing. So what is changing? I'm going to revert my next set of bits of content on the blog, which get fed out to all my social media, back to the quiet experts to see what happens. And that's the best thing about following my own system, is I can play around with different ideal potential clients and put content out to appeal to them. And then because I've got my ideal client profile, I know what's keeping them up at night, I know what I've got under their skin, I know how they think, what the emotions are, and all that stuff. So it's not hard to create great content for them, and that's what I'm going to do this week. I'm going to go back to the quiet experts. I'm also going to focus on lead generation, because it's pretty tough getting leads at the moment unless you're paying for ads. So I've got to come up with something. Well, I think I have come up with something that I can send and do some inexpensive Facebook ads If you do video, Facebook ads is so much less expensive because you can pay by the impression of the video, and you can create an audience of people who watch your video through 50% or 90% of the way. And then you can create a lookalike audience of the people who watch the video. And it's all much, much, much cheaper than paying for a click or a conversion. So I like to do a 4-level Facebook campaign, which is the video first, create the audience, create the lookalike audience, advertise something free or low cost to that audience, and then go from there, and then do the other 2 layers, which I won't go into right now. So I've created a 1-minute ad, which I'm setting running just to season the campaign, really, and to see who looks at it and who responds. And the call to action on that is to DM me the word masterclass so that they can get access to my free masterclass. And then I'm also thinking about creating a guide that will appeal to a wider audience. And I'm thinking about making that wider audience much, much wider, going back out from content marketing, through business marketing, through small business owners, through to people who like to work at home or who work at home and need to market their business better. Now, that's the complete opposite to the advice that everybody else gives, which is niche, 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 niche. But I think when you've got a niche that might be too small in terms of specialty, and I think content marketing might be going a step too far, a layer down too far. I'm not sure, but I'm going to test that theory by putting out a more general guide to business owners or Gen Xers who work at home. Now, that's still quite niche, right? So people who work from home who are over 50, essentially, or over 45, really. So the Gen Xers is niching still. And if I don't get any responses or as much response as I would like, I'm going to come out one more level and go to people who work from home who are over 50. So create a wider audience if you're not getting the large numbers of response you want, the size of response you want, because you've got to get an audience, and you've got to turn that audience into leads of people who are interested in what you do and who you do it for and how you can help them. And if you're not getting the response you want, it might be that your offer's wrong, but I know my offer's right because I get referrals and they sign up for my offer. But it's the fact that if you're not getting the leads, the cold leads, rather than relying on referrals, you haven't really got a business you can depend on. And I definitely want this business to be one that I can depend on. So that's me. That's my week. And I'm really glad I've done it before the knock on the door comes. Any minute now, I've been very twitchy waiting for it. And that'll be my sister Sarah. And we can sit and reminisce about the wonderful times we had with Judith when we went on our events, because my sister Sarah always, without fail, supported me on those as well. Great to have good people around you. That's all I can say. Have a great week, and I'll be back next week for another episode of What Worked, What Didn't, and What's Changing. See you later.